Hello and welcome everyone to the Christian Kabbalah channel. My name is Shimon Klinger. I am so happy you're here. This is the Journey to Jesus live stream series. In this particular week, we are going to be reading a particular section of the Zohar. But before we do that, we are going to be learning about some of the consciousness that will help us stay connected to the light, stay connected to our soul, stay connected to God as we go through this coming week. I need to add that if you are watching this video right now live, or if you're watching this on Sunday right now, it is a very special night. A very special energy is available. Yes, it is still the holiday of Hanukkah that we have talked about, but it is also the first day of the month. So it's kind of like double positivity is here with us. This is as I said, the new moon, the new month of Tevet, which corresponds to the astrological month of Capricorn. So there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of energy happening right now in the cosmos, but with all of that said, let's jump to the particular energy, the particular Zohar reading for this week. Welcome, I am so glad you're here. So we are going, just like we started with last week, we are going to be starting with the prayer from the Ari. The Ari was one of the most prominent, one of the most influential Kabbalists that ever existed. He wrote this particular prayer as a way to access the wisdom of the Zohar, in order for us to greater access the light of our soul. So we're going to begin with this prayer, and then we're going to get into the lessons for this week. Ruler of the universe and master of all masters, the Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy work, and you enable us to take part in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us with such big favor. That is the reason we plead before you that you will forgive and acquit all of our sins, and they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awaken and prepare our hearts to love and revere you, and may you listen to our utterances and open our closed heart to the hidden studies of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor as the aroma of sweet incense. And may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all of our being. And may the sparks of your holy servants, through which you revealed your wisdom to the world, shine. May their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study. And by their merit enlighten our eyes and our learning, as it is stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. Open my eyes so I will see wonders from your Torah, because from his mouth God gives wisdom and understanding. May the utterances of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, God, my strength and my Redeemer. All right, everyone. So again, welcome. Let's jump into our presentation for this evening. So you can see right here that this particular week is known as Vayigash. Vayigash corresponds to the first word of the Torah portion for this particular week. And as a result, this is what the Torah portion is named. And this is also, therefore, the Zohar section that we'll be reading from. And as you can see right here, that the section of Vayigash, the portion of Vayigash, spans from Genesis 44:18 through 47:27. And the main topic that we will be considering tonight is how we can exercise greater free will in our life, or are we even able to do that? So I'll go through this quickly. I've gone through this quickly the last couple times. There is a lot of background information that I will be maybe skimming over. And so therefore, if you have any questions about maybe some of the terms that you may be unfamiliar with, I highly suggest you check out this particular video, which is sort of a beginner's guide to this live stream. So if you have any questions, please check out this video. You can find the link for it in the description box. And as always, we are so happy to send out a free Pocket Zohar to you. If you do, please scan this QR code and we will make sure we get that out to you as soon as we can. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those comments, like, subscribe. It really, really does help gain visibility and get this message out to as many people as we can. So, do we have free will, or is everything already predetermined? You know, the church has a lot to say about this on both sides, right? On one hand, they will say, of course we have free will. On the other hand, especially when it comes to the debate about whether or not we have any true power to actually find Jesus on our own, there is scripture that lands on both sides of the debate. Some will say that everything is already predetermined, meaning whether or not we become a Christian is predetermined, and then there's other scripture that says that we do not have, that is not predetermined. Another way of asking this question is, are our lives already determined before we enter into this world, or are we able to alter our destiny while we are here? Now, this may seem like a relatively obvious question. I mean, it's a little crazy to think that everything in our life could be predetermined before we enter into this world. But one thing is for sure, right? I cannot actually guarantee, but I can almost guarantee that if you are watching this video, you're watching this live stream, that there is something in your life that you are unsatisfied with. Because it is oftentimes those areas, the things that we are most unsatisfied with, the things in our life that we just can't seem to change, that lead us to a deeper spirituality, to ask greater questions, to question our faith a little bit more. Now, I am aware that Christianity doesn't have a whole lot to say about this, but Kabbalah does, right? And this is one area that a Christian can definitely utilize the wisdom, the tools of Kabbalah in order to bend your life and open the gates to the blessings that you wish you had. So before we get into this, I would just like to use a personal example. Now, I've talked about this personal example on more than one occasion along these videos, but I would like to, it's worth mentioning again. And that is that it wasn't until I was 44 that I found the right person and got married. It was extremely difficult. In fact, for my entire adult life, up until age 44, that I had major difficulty finding the right one. I sure dated a lot of people. I sure went through a lot of breakups. I sure went through a lot of difficulty. No matter what I did, though, I was not able to find the right person. And I have been told by my Kabbalah teacher that in all likelihood, before I came into this world, I made certain agreements that I would remain single my entire life. However, when I got into this world, it was so unbearable that I did everything that I could in order to break that karma. Now, this is not really the time or place to go into or to answer the question of why. Why might we choose to have such lack in our life? Now, for you, it might be something different. For you, it might be financial. It might be any variety of different things that you feel as if you lack. But Kabbalah's relatively clear that there are certain things that we choose to experience before we come into this world. But the good news is that we can alter that. So let's go into these two things. So according to Kabbalah, both realities are true. Both realities are true. Kabbalah teaches that there is a reality where our lives are already predetermined. Everything is predetermined. In this way, our lives are like a movie where the set, the cast, the people in our lives, the storyline, the major things that occur to us, according to Kabbalah, are already determined before we enter into this world. But there's good news, especially for those areas that are particularly difficult for us to change. The things that are particularly difficult for us to live without, and Kabbalah teaches that we are not necessarily destined to live lives full of lack. Kabbalah teaches, you can see here, number 2, Kabbalah teaches that through proactive action, humans are able to change their movie. Every time, according to Kabbalah, that we restrict our selfish desires, we change our destiny. Now, in Christianity, there's not a whole lot of incentive, let's say, to live according to the teachings of Jesus. Let's be honest, right? Because what does Christianity, for the very most part, teach? And I am aware that there are some different sects of Christianity that are stronger about one thing versus another thing. But for the very most part, is there any direct benefit? Does Christianity teach of any direct benefit to live a life according to the teachings of Jesus? From my experience, Christianity is more about what happens to us when we pass from this world. Christianity is very much concerned, right? Once we accept Jesus into our heart, at least from a Protestant perspective, then we gain access into heaven. This is where the bulk of the Christian teachings are. It's not so much about what happens to us in this world. It's what happens to us once we pass out of this world. But what happens in the remaining time? According to Kabbalah, though, that there is great benefit for us to live according to the teachings of Jesus. Anytime, according to Kabbalah, and anytime that we restrict our selfish desires, we alter our destiny. So it becomes a sort of a game. How much can I transform? How much can I change? How much can I overcome my own inner negativity? Because there's direct benefit. And I am a great example because I was able to change my destiny. I was able to get married. Yes, it took a lot of work. It took many years, but I was able to do that. So I can vouch for the wisdom, and I can vouch that by making continuous small actions, that slowly by slowly we can open ourselves up to a different destiny. As you can see. And so if we perpetually make quote unquote good decisions, we can change, according to Kabbalah, all aspects of our fate. We are not doomed, according to Kabbalah, to live the lives that we have been given, to live the lives that we were born into, to live the lives that oftentimes we feel stuck with. That we have the power, each and every one of us, by our own birthright, our own human birthrights, we are able to change things that we don't like about in our life. But there is a way of doing that. So, this is a very simple question, but what is a good decision? What is a good decision? Well, it's very simple. It is when we overcome that negative voice within. In Kabbalah, right? In Christianity, this is Satan, but that's not. It is the Satan in Christianity. Now, this is how it's pronounced in the Hebrew, and the Satan, according to Kabbalah, is that loud voice within us that will always try and convince us to do the wrong thing. Like, we are ultimately all very familiar with this, but Kabbalah is maybe a little bit clearer about what the Satan is. It exists within us. Now, it is not us. Let's be clear. It is not us, but it exists within us. And it is there within every single decision, trying to push us off of the things that we know that are right. It will always convince us to do the wrong thing. It will always try and convince us to try and convince us to do the things that we know are wrong. This is what it means to be a human. We all know this. We all know this voice of ours. But how many of us are active in trying to overcome it? And quite frankly, the reason why we are not active is because we have never been told that there is anything to our direct benefit if we fight against that negative voice within us. Another way of putting it is our reactive nature. What do you get triggered by? What do I get triggered by? What are those things? You see, because the more difficult it is to overcome, the greater it is, the greater those actions are in changing our destiny. You know, there are some different things within our nature, some maybe small aspects of negativity within us that are relatively easy to overcome. Will those change our destiny? Absolutely. However, we all know that there are other areas in our life that are hugely negative, things that we continue to do. And we know that they are really bad for us in one way or another. It might be overeating, it might be porn, it might be addiction. But Kabbalah teaches that it is those areas in our life, if we are able to overcome, if we're able to transform, if we are able to make better decisions, that those are the areas, the places that are most difficult, which will bring us the greatest spiritual benefit. They will open up new narratives in our movie like no other area within us. And we must know that there is great benefit to doing the right thing, to making good decisions. Because whenever we're able to do that, we open up new avenues. You know, it is really easy for us to think that, for the most part, our lives are linear, that things happen, do the decisions that we make really truly impact us in one way or another, and much of the world pretty much will agree that our lives will happen regardless of the decisions that we make. But Kabbalah is clear. When we fight and make good decisions, we open up new avenues of destiny. Every time. Kabbalah tells us that we cannot determine the consequences of our actions, meaning that we can't necessarily determine what will happen to us if we make a good decision, or what the negative benefit, the negativity will be if we make a bad decision. But we can control whether or not we restrict our satan. And every time we do, it has great benefit for us. We can control our reactivity, which is another way of saying we can control the negativity within us. And when we do, we change our fate. So this week's homework. Number 1, pay extra attention to the negative voice within. Number 2, observe it. Sit back and observe it. That would be a great first step. And realize that that loud voice that is trying to pull you off of the things that you know are right, that is not you. There is an active negative voice that is certainly not a core aspect of you that is trying to derail you and your life, and me as well. Number 3, do what you can to overcome that negative voice within. And know that whenever you do, you will be changing your destiny. Now, you may not receive the things that you want by making 1 or 2 changes in your life. But know that constant, proactive change can change any aspect of your life. This is what Kabbalah tells us. Anything that you are unhappy with in your life, by beginning to make good decisions, by overcoming the negativity within, over time, anything can be changed, can be altered with constant efforts. And most importantly, the Zohar is our best tool to overcome the negative voice within. So the more that you access the Zohar, the more you access the reading that we're going to be doing right now, the easier it is to remove all of the noise that oftentimes occupies our minds, and instead allows us to hear that still small voice of our soul. So this week's Zohar reading, as you can see here, is going to be chapter 12. We will not be reading the English. Instead, we will be only reading the Aramaic. And we have, if this might be curious to you, or you may not understand why we would be reading something in a different language, please access this video. It will help. So, without further ado, let's get into our Zohar reading. Now, what we will do is we're going to read the relevance of this particular section and how it can directly benefit. So again, this is going to be here, chapter 12 of Vayigash, and Joseph made ready his chariot. This is what this particular section will do for us. And it goes along with exactly the homework for this week. We have free will to choose our path in life. 2 paths are always available: the path of darkness, as personified in the Zohar by Egypt, and the path of the light, which in this section is denoted by the people of Israel and by the Torah. Again, so the Zohar, even though we're not going to be reading the English, if you do, and you see that it talks about the people of Israel or the Torah, they are simply talking about the decisions that we make that are a direct result of acting from our soul. We have no control or influence over the consequences and rewards that accompany these paths. We can, however, choose the path that we walk. This is the power that we have as human beings. Our self-destructive impulses impel us to constantly choose the negative path, and the negative energy blanketing our world often blinds us to the folly of our choices. The light emitted by these verses helps brighten the spiritual landscape, revealing the doorways through which we must pass in order to attain peace, prosperity, and fulfillment. All right, So we're gonna let's begin our Zohar reading again. Before we begin, what is one area? Direct this light to one area that you have found difficulty overcome, an area of darkness. And let's use this so that this week, and we have assistance this week to overcome things that have been hounding us our entire lives. That's the gift of this week. And that's the gift of this Zohar reading. Vayesor Yosef Mar Kavto, Rabbi Yitzhak Patak Ve'emar, Umut al Rashe Dechaya, Rakia Ke'en de Karach Hanora, Natui, al Rashehem Milmala, Chai Kra Ukmoa, Aval Tachazeh, It Chaya, Le'el Min Chaya, Ve'et Chaya, Kadisha Ve'kaima, al Resh Chaveta. Verse number 124. Va'it chaya ila'a lela al kol shar chavata v'chai chaya shalta al kulchu bagin dachad chai chavata yahava ve'nahara lechalchu kaden kulchu natlin le matlanoi ve'yahavat da lada ve'shalta da alda. Verse 125. Va'it cheveta lela al chata'e al she'ar ve'chedvata letata ve'kulchu at idzanu mina ved sitre de'alma rashimim ba anpim nachirin yadian lachal satar v'chis salta al dalid sitre v'cha ukmoa dainun gimel listar da vegimel listar da vechen led citren or led dalid citrin delma. Va'it rakia leela min rakia v'chai rakia deshata alaychu kulchu damistaklan legabe makativ ve'tachat la rakia kanfechem yasharot esa al achota vego bagin de kulchu shatin al ma da'it fakdu ushalichu de kusta de kuftara baho. Vainun lacho satar disha led ledalid citrin dalma vainun la levav bechushpana vechad da'it chabran kulchu it avidu Rashima chada beraza dishma chada biyuchuda shalim kidchatze. V'chad dimitat kanan legabe kersia ma kativ umima al rakia asher al rasham be mare even sipir damut kise ve'al damut ve'hakise damut kamare adam alav mil mala v'cha ukmoa dechai even tava be karsaya damai de kaima al dalid kaimin al hahu karsaya de yukna de adam la itchabra be kachada ul it bracha kidka yoot. 129. Bakad ichu mitkana legabe de adam lemachave kola raticha chada L'chai Adam Kaden Kativ ve'yasor Yosef Mekarvato da Sadik ve'al likrat Israel Aviv Gashna lekriat Israel da Raza de Adam Gashna Tik Rovata Chada la'it karava kachada karbana chada vechuda chada. Before this is going to be our last reading, our last section. I would like to remind everyone what Michael Berg spoke about recently. And he reiterated that the Zohar is the most powerful spiritual tool that exists according to Kabbalah. That the Zohar is translated to mean splendor, which ultimately means light. And so the words that we were reading are more important with the understanding that they are emanating light, they are awakening and revealing light in our lives and in the entire world. That's why we're not reading the English. We are reading and accessing the light that is contained in the Zohar, supernal light. It is as if we are opening up a window to the upper worlds, to the light of the Creator, and opening that up and shining it, yes, into our lives, but especially into those people that we know that needs this light as well. That is our tool to access and maximize that supernal light. Last one for tonight. Vayira alav dachar itchadze shimsha b'sichara kaden. Nachir sichara ve'anher lekulchu diltata vechen kegavna da kol zimna dekucha dilela sara al makdesha diltata it naher bi makdesha ve'kaima bishalmute v'chad teistalak mine v'itcharev bi makdesha kaden v'yevek al tzarav od devachon kola al makdesha da'itcharev od mai od da galuta batra'a. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Again, I wish you the very best this coming week by, first of all, just observing and watching your reactivity, your negative nature, your darkness. Watch it as it tries to convince you to do the wrong thing. And then if you have the ability, the wherewithal to begin to fight against it, know that you are opening up new destinies, new avenues that you can then walk into, and your life can absolutely change by systematically overcoming the negative voice within. My friends, thank you very, very much. I greatly appreciate all of your comments. Let's go here. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Email me at christiankabbalah@gmail.com. I'd love to hear about success stories and anything. And again, please like, subscribe, make comments. It really does help. My friends, have an amazing New Year. I wish you guys all Happy New Year. See you guys all in the next video. Take care.